The scenes of July 2021 civil unrest in parts of Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal left many shocked. There were more than 300 fatalities and many businesses closed due to shops being looted and some being vandalized or torched. A public report released earlier this week outlined how the police failed to curb the unrest. These riots highlighted the inequality of South Africa, poor service delivery and doubts about whether our national security has the ability to handle such unrest. For more on this, we're now joined via Zoom by political analyst Khanyi Magubane. Khanyi, apologies, we couldn't get a good connection earlier. But just your expectations in terms of the State of the Nation address this evening. I liked that part you included, that we've largely not been talking about the effects of the outcomes of the Zondo Commission.
Thank you very much, Desmond, and I also apologize that I couldn't really hear you earlier on. I was listening to the packages that were being done by the journalists before I actually came on, and I think that there's so much that we can take from that in terms of projecting into State of the Nation, and in terms of the unrest that we saw. Maybe we can start by dealing with that report. We know that that unrest has identified particular individuals who are said to have been behind it, and we know that it was born out of an alleged collective anger against what had happened to former President Jacob Zuma during the Zondo Commission, and him being accused of being in contempt of court and subsequently jailed at Escort Correctional Services. And so I think that it's important, Desiree, that we have those loose ends that are tied up, and the report, I think, is definitely also going to go a long way in actually forcing the security cluster, domestic intelligence, to face up to weaknesses that have been identified in the system. The report does say that there's been a delay. There was a delay in reaction because intelligence did not move fast enough. And so we also need to look at issues of state security. He will definitely touch on that. He is invested in a country that is safe politically, because that ultimately goes on to impact foreign direct investment, which is something that we desperately need as a country right now. So political instability becomes a very unfavorable economic climate for any business coming into the country and trying to do business with South Africa again. If they're going to be looted, if they're going to be destroyed, if a company cannot be 100% certain of the safety of its assets, it's a problem.
There's no way one can look at the socioeconomic situation in the country without looking at the leaders at the helm. Are our leaders doing justice to South Africans?
Wow, that's a very open-ended question, Desiree. Where do we start? I think we can hone in on the president himself and his presidency. You know, we can hold him to account, and by extension, his ministers, the MECs, the premiers, and everybody who comes in under that organogram. But I think that at the very top, we can look at the president. I think that the president this evening is going to usher us into a new dawn. I do think that the president will usher a post-state capture era. He's going to talk about the Zondo Commission and how he's invested in the prosecutions, or whatever the final recommendations of the state capture report are going to be. The president has said it, under no circumstances will he allow state capture to happen again, and the state and security cluster is ready to implement the recommendations of the Zondo Commission. So what that is going to look like, I don't think it's going to happen very easily. I think that individuals who are fingered and will be recommended for prosecutions will try their best to evade, a jail stint. There's a lot, Desiree.
And with the low voter turnout in last year's local government elections, is this a form of protest by South Africans? And how will they carry this through in their interaction with the State of the Nation address?
Well, I'm hoping that the president will find a way to deal with the voter apathy that we saw in great numbers during the previous local government elections. Voter turnout was at its lowest, and we know that a lot of political parties suffered quite a lot, and particularly the ANC itself. You know, the constituent was protesting through withholding their votes, and when voters get to a point of apathy, they're looking for something new. They're looking for a new home, and I I am hopeful that the president, or I'm thinking that the president will definitely use tonight's State of the Nation address to say to South Africans, we know we have not always done you well. We know that we have failed you, but please give us another chance. And whether South Africans are in a position to give the ANC another chance, that remains to be seen. But I think that the president has a lot of reputational work to do, a lot of brand rehabilitation needs to be done, because the ANC has taken a heavy knock in the last local government elections.
Khanyi, what are your thoughts about the president's promises in the 2021 State of the Nation address, specifically looking at the Investment and Infrastructure Office in terms of the big infrastructure projects that are supposed to turn around the country's fortunes? Has that happened?
Well, Desiree, we know that the president trying his best, to bolster the economy, which I think will be a very key theme in his State of the Nation address tonight. He's going to talk about recovery, and under that, he's going to look at different projects that were tabled before. Yes, a SONA address, and he will cover what gains have been made. And we can even look at initiatives like the Solidarity Fund, which for the most part was funded by private business, and through that fund was established as a way of reviving the economy, as a way of reviving business and bolstering employment, to get the economy back up. The economy has stagnated because of the devastating effects of the economy. And so I think South Africans tonight are really going to be listening to how the president is looking at South Africa's economic recovery in the next 12 months.
Khanyi Magubane, thank you so much for helping us have a crystal ball into possible content of the State of the Nation address.